I think I'm going to have a little ramble regards. Oh, there you go. As soon as I start the video. I think it's to do with generational behaviour as a plane appears coming towards me as well. Plane. As a flying being appears in the sky. Anyway, if you believe that, because all things are possible, aren't they? Was it Ricky Ross said in Fergus Sings the Blues, sung by Deacon Blue? Ricky Ross was the front of the band, but whoever wrote that song always seems to be the same spirit, doesn't it? And he said, all things are possible, but happen less and less. Anyway, so I think I'm going to talk about generational behaviour, and and because I can hear the plane above me now. Oh dear. So, just distractions. If you have the opinion that the world that you live in is just an illusory prison to somehow keep you trapped for loose, yeah, it could be, couldn't it? But it could also be somewhere where you are trapped again, but maybe for the reasons of growing. Okay, let me just throw where I'm coming from with that little theory is generational behaviour. Now, I never knew. Listen, I never knew my grandparents on my dad's side, so I'm not able to pass comment on them. But my grandparents on my mum's side, they were nice people, yeah, but maybe they were a victim of their time or their programming or whatever. But basically, yeah, they were racist. Okay, I don't think they were outright, racist, as in what you would imagine. But in the 60s, my auntie, she was knocking around with an African man. If I say black man, I don't take offence to it because he was black man, yeah. And she fell pregnant, and apparently my grandfather, who throughout my younger years he was brilliant. He was an amazing man. But apparently he said to his pregnant daughter to go and kill the baby because, and the quote, I don't want no pick. I'm not. He wouldn't have any pickaninnies in his house. Okay. So but generational behaviour. Obviously, my auntie was not racist, yeah, because but bear in mind, my grandfather, he fought in World War II. His father fought in World War One. He had family who died, this and that, blah blah blah. So you can imagine that they are like they're put into this box. Anyway, get back to what I'm saying. And my mum, she was not racist at all. My mum. And one day, should you ever strike a child? Well, yeah and no. It depends, doesn't it? But one time there was uh, he was either an Indian or a Pakistani man on the television reading the news. I never used to watch telly, as such. And so I was looking at the telly strangely, and I didn't, where I'm from, when I was younger, it was predominantly white, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really know anybody. One of my best friends in school, a girl called Natalie Lewington, used to sit next to me in class. She was a black girl. And one time she had a skin infection on her face, and if under the after the skin was healing, she had like a white blotch, like a Michael Jackson kind of white blotch. And I was saying to her, "You're not turning white, are you? You're not trying to be like us, are you?" As kids do, because it's all innocent, isn't it? But anyway, generational behaviour. Yeah, so this Indian guy or Pakistani guy, I think he was an Indian guy, you don't have to tell he's reading the news. So I was looking and I started laughing, and my mum said, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, "What's that guy doing on the telly reading the news?" And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, I said, he's a Paki, isn't he? He's a Paki. Why is he a Paki reading the news? Because to me, Pakistanis came from Pakistan, English from English, Indians from India, New Zealanders from New Zealand, Australians from Australia, Americans from America. This is what you're taught in school. So I was like, why is he a Paki on the telly reading the news? Because to me, he couldn't have been English because he was Pakistani. I didn't, and my mum slapped me. She slapped me, right? And she said, "Hey, you haven't been brought up like that." And I was like, "No, I haven't. I'm not racist, But yeah, generational behaviour. Now, so the next generation down from my mum is me, yeah. So, and I'm not racist at all. I'm not racist. I don't mean like that. I'm not prejudiced against anybody in any way, shape, or form. I take every single person as they come, regardless of whatever, and judge them on that basis. But generational behaviour. Now, my nan and granddad, my mum's side, and my nan and granddad on my dad's side, they were married till they died, till death did they part. Yeah. My mum and my father, my earthly father, excuse me, they were married till my mum passed. But here's where we go, generational behaviour. So jumping back to, maybe if you're imprisoned, maybe you have to learn. If there was something that was seeding, if you want to call yourself a star seed, star seed, yeah, says who? Yourself. Okay, there you go, big yourself up. But yeah, so if maybe there's something that grows, and think about it yourself. If you sow seed, if you till the ground and you sow seed, not every seed is viable. Yeah, not every seed is viable. There you go. Not every seed's viable. Think about miscarriages. Not every seed germinates. Yeah, not viable. I mean, not every seed that germinates gets to fruition, etc., etc. Think of it like that way. So if there's billions of people, all seeds, and only so many are gonna make it, right? But to make it, maybe look at generational behaviour. So here's one for you to ponder. Now my mum, and she was an amazing lady, but this also, this can also tie in with the fact that, like, Everything could be a setup. Everybody around you could be a setup. Everything that you've ever done is a setup. Your partners and everything's a setup. Yeah, I'm still open to that. I'm just saying, tie it into it with what I'm saying. So my mum, I would class her as awake, yeah, although she's now, because she used to say stuff like, them moon landings were fake, that never happened. I told my granddad at the time, they were sat there watching the telly, and I was saying to them, are you wasting time for, wasn't I? No one goes to the moon, that's fake, not happening, it's not happening. You know, so that's what she was like in the 60s. But, you know, then she marries my father, and, you know, he's a good man. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, he's like a drone NPC, yeah? Same thing over and 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 over until he drops, yeah? Excuse me. So, if you're in that kind of relationship, and it becomes, because if you're of the opinion that, like, you know, you're given these things to grow from, yeah. My mum never grew. She had the opportunity to grow, right? But I remember one time, you know, they were arguing and stuff, and arguing and arguing. It was always happening 2 or 3 times a week. Always alcohol involved, you know. One time she was just crying and crying and crying. And I was like, Mum, why are you crying? Like, just come on, then. Like, just leave him. Just leave him. And what it was she was out. And my father used to just not come home. He'd just go to work, and then he'd go out and spend all his money on alcohol, come home, and then they'd row. But then my mum fell into the trap of doing the same. If he wasn't home by a certain time, she knew he was out on the drink, so she'd go out either looking for him and cause a scene, or just go out and get drunk herself with her friends, leaving, you know, little old me to become the person I am. Yeah. And don't look at me, mate. No, don't do that. Yeah, put your phone away as well. There you go. Trying to walk past, putting his phone up at me. So, yeah, this one time she's crying and stuff, and she said that she was in the pub, and this other man had, like, propositioned her, you know, not in that kind of way, but basically he was saying to her, because my mum she was a good looking woman, and he said to her, you know, what are you wasting your time with him for? Are you wasting your time with him, you know? Excuse me. And my elder siblings, they'd already, you know, as soon as they were of age, they were out the house. But unfortunately for myself, I was 9 years younger, so I was like left with it. And yeah, so this man propositions my mum, and he's like, listen, you know, forget him, F him, forget him, come with me, you know. I don't think he meant like in a sexual way. Probably at some point he would have, but he meant like, you know, come with me, I'll look after you. He'd always loved me, Mum. He was saying, I'll look after you, this and that, you know. And I said to my mum, well, why don't you? If you know, if you don't love him, and you don't, if you're saying I don't even love him, he's horrible, this and that, and so I said to her, well, just why don't you then? Just leave. You know, I would have understood. It didn't bother me, because I didn't like to see my mum upset and crying. You know what I mean? But it's where your generational behaviour takes over. So probably in her head, her mum and dad, she probably witnessed her mum and dad having the same kind of rows over and over and over, staying together, this and that, blah blah blah. But I said to her, Mum, if you're not happy, just go. Just leave him then. Leave him. Just go. And she said she couldn't. Now there's no such thing as can't. You do or you don't you? So she said, I can't. So I said, why? And she said, because of you. Because of me. Now, that was maybe the wrong thing to say to a youngest child, because it stuck in my head and made me think that it was my fault. My mum was unhappy, drinking herself to misery a few times a week because of me. So I resented her for part of my life, a good part of my life, and to the point where we were so alike that, you know, we just didn't get on at all. Strange in the end, but yeah. So she never did. Now, she used to say stuff like, you know, your dad would miss her funeral to go to a football match, stuff like that. He would, yeah, he would. He's still doing it now. My brother, just the same. 2 kids, wife, you know, extramarital, continual, you know, flashing the cash around to everybody but his own kids and family, you know, all that kind of stuff. Just generational behaviour. Anyway, so my mum, she had, you know, she was given. This is the thing: is you have to look for these opportunities. She was given the opportunity to leave, and you know, she was not guaranteed anything with this other man, but the man was offering her to, you know, to take care of her, to get her out of the situation she was in. And she, you know, unfortunately for my mum, whatever, she was maybe too scared to take it, yeah, because some people are too scared to take the thing. So, generational behaviour. So, from that point of view then, as she would get older, her body would start to break down, yeah, her health and her body. She had a heart attack, she ended up with lung cancer, but you know, from a, I believe, another person going past staring at me, come on, what's up with you? They're probably saying like, oh, good talk, carry on, good talk. Maybe not. So I have to take me jacket off because I'm in direct sun and I'm starting to melt. Oh, it's beautiful. And so anyway, yeah. So jumping to stuff like, you know, the placebo effect, where like they say, you know, they say the placebo effect scientifically proven to be real. Oh, excuse me. Well, that means nothing, but it also means everything, because if it is scientifically proven to be real that the placebo effect works, then the flip side of the coin is, oh, this guy, come on, man, I see you everywhere walking that dog. Go on, everywhere. I took my son out before, right, about 4 miles away to a play area, and when I walked in there, a guy who walks his dog in the park across the road from me was in there with his dog, with his shades on. So I had to just give him a few lizard things on the way past anyway. Stop it now. Stay focused. Right. So yeah, the placebo effect. So the flip side is then, if the placebo effect is real, then the opposite is real by default, isn't it? Means that everything comes from inside. Now you could say somebody who's puffing away on cigarettes and alcohol 24 hours a day and doesn't have a care in the world, they'll probably be fine. Same as the person who eats chocolate and eats stuff and says, oh, never puts weight on me. You know what I mean? There you go. And you get someone who eats a cake and goes, oh, I shouldn't eat these cakes, they go right to me hips, and they've got a big massive fat ass. You know what I mean? Come on. Anyway, so the placebo effect. So, as my mum started to get older, she has an heart attack. What caused that? Probably because her heart wasn't in what she was doing. Yeah? Then she got lung cancer. People say because she smoked. Well, her parents smoked all their lives. They never got lung cancer. Yeah, there was no reason for her to. Yeah, in a gene kind of way, in the genes. But maybe because then she had a heart attack and she wasn't as physically able, and then she started being more housebound, not being able to go out as much, do as much because of this heart condition, con, and ends up with the lung cancer through, perceived through smoking, but probably perceived through sitting there day after day without a heart in it, and without the courage or convictions to speak about it. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Generational behaviour. Anyway, fast forward to me, our Nicky boy. I found myself in the same situation with a wife who seemed to be, at first, was amazing, and as time goes on, just became, I just call it a witch, because everything that I say or do, she actively goes against everything, to the point where in the end I was like, I have no say in anything in my family or marital life, and especially in my children's lives and stuff like that. And my children asked to be homeschooled and she forced them back against their will. All that kind of stuff. In the end, it was making me sick. It was making me ill. Yeah, but it was me. And then, when eventually, I always said I would never put my children through what I went through as a child, and I never did. And then, as soon as it started, I was aware of it, and I was like, right, this is no good now. This reminds me of me sat on the floor while people are screaming and shouting. It's no good. But then at the same time, it's like, what man would abandon 4 children, walk out on 4 children? Would just say, I've had enough of it, goodbye, sorry, gotta stop, end of. Well, if I didn't do that, then, I might have been gone by now. Or seriously downhill, because I went downhill. I changed jobs as well, so that's, by the by. And I stopped doing like a physical job where I was literally having to carry all my tools and everything up and down cranes 10 times a day. Imagine the size of my arms and shoulders and legs and that kind of stuff. And I played football till I was like a good age. But yeah, I dropped down to like 9 stone. I used to be 17.5 stone, not an ounce of fat on me. Yeah, I went down to 9 stone, like something from the Auschwitz pictures, like something from Auschwitz, and I was like, what's making me sick here? Asking you shall receive. It's her. It's this situation. Oh yeah, but like you don't get divorced, and so anyway, in the end, I've had to. I'm in the process. But now, that's generational behaviour. Am I learning? Because am I learning that you don't have to be, because it's helping me grow. And as I don't even know when I became awakened. I don't know. I think it was about 2014 maybe. I was hospitalised. I was doing loads and loads of work, and to the point where I was doing hours, 14, 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and but never had any pennies to show for it. Never had any money to show for it. Like, that's the way the system works. But yeah, and I ended up hospitalised. They had no idea what was up with me. And during that hospital stay, I nearly died. They had no idea. They blood sepsis, pneumonia, all kinds. just woof. And but in that hospital stay, I had some real eye-opening occurrences where it's stuff that, like, you know, like remote viewing. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it because this video's on for so long anyway. Remote viewing. It's the things that had occurred, I didn't know what they were, and then afterwards when I sort of researched it, it was remote viewing. I also did stuff where I was conceivably speaking to people I didn't know, but speaking to them like I knew them in visions, and they were just there. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I would say that was an awakening. And at the end of the hospital stay, what they said to me was, they said, we had no idea what was up with you. We've done everything we can, short of flushing your blood with bleach. Well, just what it was probably just everything that wasn't to be was getting burnt off. I don't know, but I've been a different person ever since. Then I had an accident in 2016. I broke my shoulder, and one of my friends was like, I can't believe what's happened to you. You know, it's really dropped you in the shit. You know, what will you do about paying your bills, this and that and that? And it's just like I couldn't work for 6 months. I had an operation, couldn't use my arm for 6 months, and you know, I realised then that I went from being horrified at the thought of not having any money to, by the time I went back to work, the first day I walked in, and I was like, "Hi, yeah," and they were like, "Wow, so pleased to see me. Yeah, how is your jobs?" And I was like, "Well, it's back on the cranes. Are you having a laugh?" And they were like, "What?" I said, "Like, you know, come on, it's my first day back. I've had my shoulders all pinned, you know." And they were like, "Well, are you fit for work or not?" I was like, "Yeah, I am, yeah, but you know, come on. You know, there's enough guys here. Can we not, like, just, you know, to go back climbing the crane straight first day?" And they said, if you're not able to do it, we'll get someone who will. I've worked there for 10 years. You know what I mean? And straight away I thought, well, fuck you too. And that was it. That was like September time, 2016. By the time I come to December, I walked out. I just took my overalls off, got me tools and walked off into the distance. And that was the end of it. Because that was a learning opportunity to learn that I didn't have to be chasing money and be scared of not having an income. You know? Everything's a learning curve. Look, the cloud, you know, every cloud's got a silver lining. Unless it's just been sprayed there. But, yeah, generational behaviour. Now, where I'm going from with that is my wife. You know, I don't want to badmouth her, you know. I'm not badmouthing her because she's a victim of generational behaviour. This is the way it seems. Because she doesn't let me speak, she speaks over me, she replies not what I've spoke about, she'll take it elsewhere when it's not been said, all that kind of stuff. And as I say, you know, I had no input. Got more input in my children's lives now I'm not with them than when I was there 24 hours a day with them. So, but my wife, you know, soon to be ex-wife, I watched her sisters and her mum, you know, abuse her dad for years before I realised. I was like, hang on. And then it was only when my daughter started sort of doing the same thing to me, of like ignoring me when I was speaking, refusing to answer, saying I haven't got an answer to you. Well, that guy's just copying her mum, you see, generational behaviour. And I was like, yeah, man, my little theory, it's spot on. And the theory is like, there was a story. So I've witnessed her mum and sisters, you know, we call it here giving someone stick, where it means like you just, you know, abusive towards them as soon as they open their mouth. Stop giving me stick. I was giving them some stick. Oh yeah, so and so said this, so I gave them some stick. You know what I mean? That's like a saying that we have. Same as I always say, divvies. Divvies is like silly people. Divvies, divvy. Yeah. So, there's a story, and I've said to my wife, sat her down, gone, listen, you're the way you are, because like Alan Watts said, what was it? A woman says that she's neurotic because her mum dropped her when she was a baby, and her mum was neurotic because she got up as a baby, and then he said all the way back to Adam and Eve or a disappearing monkey, however you want to have it, yeah. And it's true. So I said to her, listen, here's what's going on here. You're a victim, but you've got a chance. You've got a chance to change. You've got a chance to break the chains. You know what I mean? But she wouldn't even listen or understand. Because not everyone's going to get it in this life. You see, this is the thing. So, and basically the story was I said to her, here's how I prove what I say. The theory that I've got, here's how I prove it's not a theory. You're actually doing it. She's doing it, you're doing it, your sisters are doing it, your mum's doing it. And here's how I know. And I said to her, your nan and granddad. Hello mate, you alright? I'll just give you a quick wave. I said, your nan and granddad. And straight away she was like, you don't even know my mum, you didn't even know my nan and granddad. Yeah, don't talk about my nan and granddad. I was like, I don't even, this is the kind of thing I was putting up with. I was having to put up with, and eventually if you take enough of that, it's like if someone tells you that you're stupid enough, at some point you'll believe them. Yeah? I'm not saying she was saying I was stupid, but I'm saying like if you take it enough, you'll just take it until you either it kills you or it's like when kids are getting bullied. Do you know what I mean? My mum told me when I was a kid, if anybody ever bullies you, right, and she said if anyone ever bullies you and you're scared of them or they're bigger than you, pick up a brick and hit them over the head with it and they'll never bully you again. So one day I did. I was getting bullied in school and I went for a fight with this lad, and they were all there, all these bullies. Went by myself. I was terrified, absolutely terrified. But I got this kid and I got him and I just repeatedly smashed his face into a wall until he was limp. And no one in that school ever even looked at me again. Yeah. I'm not proud of that, because you shouldn't have to come to that, but it was like, I can't be having someone spitting on my back, can I? You know what I mean? Walking past and going, oh, spit on your back. No, you can't be having that. At some point you have to stand up and say no. And you can tell the teachers and this and that, but the teacher's not gonna, you know what I mean? Stand up for yourself. So anyway, back to this story. This story was in Nan and Grandad. So the story was, one day the granddad was out drinking and he came home late, and he comes into the house and the grandma says to him, where have you been, you drunken bastard? And he replies something, I don't know that little bit of the story, he replies something, whatever. So the grandma jumps up, grabs the poker from the fire, hits him over the head with it, knocks him to the floor, obviously getting hit over the head, knocks him to the floor, and he bangs his head on the side of the hearth and splits his head open. And they all laugh about it. 3 daughters and the mum all laugh about it, about how their mum and grandmother did that to their father and grandfather. Yeah. And I said to my wife, that's how I know what I'm saying is true, because I've heard you tell that story and sit there and laugh. And I said to her, and before she had a chance to open her mouth and shout me down, I said, because let's put it the other way round. Your grandmother's been out for a few drinks with her mates, and your granddad's been in the house all day, and your grandma walks in and he says to her, where have you been, you drunken bitch? And she answers him back. So your grandfather jumps up, gets the poker from the fire, twats her over the head with it, and she falls down and splits her head open on the side of the hearth. It's not as funny now, is it? And she looked at me shocked. I just said to her, do me a favour. Just like Michael Jackson said, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. Shadilay.